For 100 years, when the killing started in Rwanda, you ran to the church. Through the cycles of violence that came before 1994, the church had been the one reliable sanctuary, a place even the militias would not cross the threshold of. The walls were holy. The priest was a witness. To gather under the cross was to be, if not safe, then at least seen. So in April of 1994, when the genocide began, the Tutsi did what a century of experience had taught them. They ran to the churches. They gathered in the pews and the parish halls, sometimes in the thousands, and they waited for the sanctuary to hold. This time it did not hold. This time the churches became the killing grounds. Some of the largest single massacres of the entire genocide happened inside their walls, and a number of the people who ran those buildings helped. The genocide killed an enormous number of people in about 100 days. The most cited estimates run from around 500,000 to more than 800,000 dead, overwhelmingly Tutsi, along with the moderate Hutu who refused to take part. We will use the conservative figure and say plainly that the precise total is contested and unknowable. The pattern repeated across the country with terrible consistency. Tutsi families fled to a parish on the promise, sometimes from officials, sometimes from clergy, that they would be protected there. Once enough had gathered, the buildings were surrounded, and then the militia, the Interahamwe, came in. These were not stray incidents. Some of the worst killings of 1994 happened in churches where thousands had sought refuge. At Nyarubuye, at Ntarama, at Nyamata, at Chiahinda, at Kibuye. The places built as sanctuary became, by the deliberate design of the killers, the most efficient traps imaginable, a way to gather the targets into one room. The clearest, court-proven case is the parish of Nyange. In April 1994, around 2,000 Tutsi took refuge in the Catholic Church there. The parish priest was named Athanase Seromba. According to the findings of the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, he did not shelter them. He had the refugees denied food and water, and then, as the militia gathered, he directed the demolition of the church by bulldozer on top of the roughly 1,500 people sheltering inside. Those who escaped the collapse were cut down outside. The tribunal convicted him of genocide and crimes against humanity. On appeal, in 2008, his sentence was increased to life imprisonment. This is not an allegation a defender can wave away. It is the recorded judgment of an international court, which found that a Catholic priest ordered his own church bulldozed onto the people praying inside it. Nor was it only priests. At the monastery of Sovu, 2 Benedictine nuns were tried, not in Rwanda, but in Belgium, and convicted of complicity in the killing of thousands of Tutsi who had sought refuge at the convent. The evidence included that one of them supplied the petrol used to burn people alive in an adjoining building. Here the rule cuts hard, and it cuts toward fairness. Because the easy version of this story is a lie. The easy version says the church did the genocide. It did not. The genocide was planned and driven by an extremist faction of the state. Its army, its militia, and the radio station pouring out the order to kill. Most of the killers were not clergy. And many priests, pastors, and nuns did the opposite of Seromba. They hid Tutsi, they lied to the militia, they shared their last food, and they were murdered for it. Hutu clergy died protecting Tutsi parishioners. To erase them would be its own atrocity against the record. so we say it plainly. The church did not cause the Rwandan genocide, and many of its people died resisting it. But that sits next to another true thing. The institution was so completely fused with the power that organized the killing that, when the killing came, the church as an institution did not stand against it, and some of its representatives joined it. For a century, it had been intertwined with the state that built and hardened the very division the genocide weaponized. When it began, no clear unified condemnation came from the top. At the moment, its vast moral authority might have mattered most. So here is the receipt. What happened? Churches where Tutsi sought refuge became sites of the largest massacres, and specific clergy were convicted by courts of record. The priest Seromba, sentenced to life, and 2 nuns of Sovu, convicted in Belgium. The spin. The church didn't commit the genocide. The state did, and many clergy were innocent. The rebuttal. All true and not a defense. An institution fused with the killing power, silent at the top, with a priest and 2 nuns convicted of helping. The few are not the whole. They are also a verdict. In March of 2017, Pope Francis asked God's forgiveness for the sins and failings of the Church and its members during the genocide, including those who, in his words, succumbed to hatred and violence, betraying their own mission. The apology matters. It also arrived 23 years late, after the verdicts, and it does not raise the roof of Nyange off the dead. A century of Rwandans had been taught one merciful thing by their church, that when the men with machetes come, you run to God's house and you will be safe. In 1994, they believed it because they had been given every reason to. They gathered under the cross in their thousands, and they waited to be protected. The cross is still the thing they ran toward. For too many of them, it was also the last thing they saw.